Ayush. Thank you, Ayush.
You're welcome, Jay.
Welcome to all the participants. I am Jay Prakash Rai, and I have a total of 12 plus years of experience in IT industry. I'm with Deque for the last 1.5 years, and prior to Deque, I was working for a Fortune 20 company, and before that, I've also worked for Wipro and TCS. So I started my journey as a Java developer, and later on, when I was picking front-end technologies, I was introduced to React. I was introduced to accessibility. So yes, I am into this accessibility field for the last 3+ years, and I'm also a certified web accessibility specialist from IAAP. So that's about me. And here at DQ, I'm a team lead, and I lead the dev services team here. So that's all about me. So let me jump to the agenda of this webinar today. So we will cover React and accessibility overview, where React stands in terms of accessibility today, and what is the myth of accessibility and React. Then we will move on to general accessibility issues, where I will be taking few of the issues from different categories, where we will see some of the main issues and how we can remediate them. And at the end, we will also talk about what is the framework support for accessibility, what is the community support for React accessibility, what are the inbuilt libraries available from accessibility perspective, and what are the inbuilt libraries available for testing libraries, and what are the different community uh, testing libraries available for doing our job as a React developer. So this is the agenda of today's webinar. The first item is React and accessibility overview. So React as a framework was always been conscious of accessibility, but unfortunately, it gets a bad reputation in the accessibility community. Things have changed over a period of time, but yes, it it did get a bad reputation in the accessibility community because it falls under single page application. So any JS framework, which is a single page application, maybe a React or Angular or Vue, yeah, it sometimes get a stigma that it might not be accessible because it's just a single page application where the page does not refresh, and we're not sure whether our screen reader will be able to pick those DOMs or not because the page is not refreshing. So this is how uh, a bad reputation go earlier started with all these JS frameworks. So JavaScript frameworks, as I said, like whether it's React or Angular or Vue, always had this issue when it comes to accessibility, and things have changed and community is improving over a period of time. So typically loaded, so React is typically loaded in a single page frame, and any changes within the page or between pages are injected onto the page with the help of routers or or other things. So this is what I believe all the React developers knows. And I'll move to the myth of accessibility in React. So as I said, React has always developed a stigma within the accessibility community that web applications created in React are not accessible. So later on, when I will showcase some of the hands-on exercises. There I will more explain that how that stigma was uh, developed within that accessible community and how over a period of time React components were made accessible. So the thing is, not only the accessibility advocates and developers, but even the developers who were developing the framework, they are also thinking that accessibility is a big challenge and that can be almost impossible to achieve. So maybe because those developers may not be accessibility advocates per se, But yeah, this is what the stigma behind. So the reality is React can be accessible as any other framework. It just takes a knowledge and the willingness to do so. So I'm going to take a few of the common issues which we in our dev services team gets often these kind of issues while we while we remediate the React components or the applications built on React. So page or view titles which doesn't get updated when we navigate from one page to other or one flow to another. Then the keyboard navigation. Yes, so many components we do get on a regular basis that those are not keyboard navig. They are not accessible by keyboard. So that issue also we will take. Focus management. Yes, it's a big thing. And if we don't do it properly, your screen reader user will be lost. And you'll also see dynamically added content like live regions and alerts using status messages. So that also we'll see from our code label. And then at the end, we'll also talk about different component libraries. So for demo purpose, I have created a GitHub repo, which I'm going to give into the chat window. So you can play around with that uh, code repository after this webinar. And if you have any questions, you can email us. We can very well answer that. We also have a Q&A session at the end of this session. All right. So having said that, let me jump to straight away to my application and we can see the code. All right. So this is a sample application which is built on React. And the first thing which we are going to see is page title. So as of now, you can see here, I have a title over here, A11i React application. But when I'm going to different tabs here, it's not changing. That's still A11i React application. That title is not getting changed. But when I'm clicking on page title, you can see that will change. Yeah, so this title got changed. So how we have achieved that, we will see that. All right, so I will be demoing 3 different ways how we can update a title dynamically. Okay, so the first one is this document title library, this package, which is a kind of a third-party package, which you can use it. And whatever the code you have in your component, just wrap it with this document title. So you can wrap it with this document title component and you can provide this title. So whatever the title you are going to provide here, the same title will come up as your page title. Okay. So here I have using title using React document title, and the same thing comes over here. Okay. So this is one way. And the second way I would recommend is if you don't want to use a third-party library or where your project is not allowing you to download these third parties packages. Okay, so you can straight away use the life cycles, component life cycles. Okay, so that is out of the box from the React. So those life cycles have different functions or methods called component did mount or component mount. So you can very well use that method, and within that component lifecycle, you can use document.title, and this will override whatever you had here. So now I have used React is awesome, and I'm going to see my page. You can see the title has been updated as React is awesome. So this is the second way you can update your page titles. And there's also a third way where I can say I've created a new page where you can use um one more package called React Helmet that is from the NFL, and this is also quite famous package. So you can use that as well. And this is how this code is. And this helmet basically creates your some of the header meta tags, and it also has, with the help of this, you can also add some of those attributes related to your SEO and all. So here, this is the title tag, title element. So whatever you provide here, so I have just provided React element is superb. So React element is superb. So this title will get updated there. So this is also one of the way of updating the title. So let me show that. Index.js. I changed another page title component. You can see here, React helmet is superb. So we have seen 3 different ways of updating title to your pages. Let's go to next to focus management, right? All right. So focus management is also one of the very important thing in accessibility. So the way JavaScript framework applications compile views can make it difficult to maintain a logical focus order. So your content may be injected uh, to your page, requiring manual refocusing to the newly injected elements after render, right? So content sometimes may change dynamically, causing the user to lose focus on the current element. So focus management is a very important aspect. So let's see here. There is one input tag here, and my objective is on click of this, I should get my focus should go to that particular message which comes in. So you can take as a use case where you're signing up for your email, you have provided user ID and password and click on sign in, and or maybe you are signing up for an email, and after providing the details, it just displayed one message that, hey, you have signed up. So maybe your focus can go there. So let me type something here, and I clicked on submit text. So you can see there is a message came like, thank you, your information has been received, and the focus went there. So how we achieve that? Let's see let's see from the code perspective. Okay, so I'm not using anything third party. It's everything out of the box and built from React. All right, so I'm using uh, state properties. So you can see here, I had one button, and when I clicked on submit text, what happened is I clicked on this on manual click, and this on manual click is setting my state as show manual true. And the moment I get show manual equal to true, what will happen is this is going to insert, or this is going to display my alert component, right? So this is alert component which is created locally. I clicked here, and you can see here there is a text here, thank you, information has been received. And we have used ref attributes to send the focus to this text. So this is all of out of the box. We haven't used anything from outside. So with the help of ref, you can very well maintain your focus. Okay. So this was the one which received the keyword focus. And one more thing we can discuss here. Yeah, so model. So model is something which is very popular in web development. Many applications, you can see models that display informations in the terms of model. So you can see here this model I have implemented again with out of the box React. For this also, I haven't used any outside packages, and this is 100% accessible. Let me show you. So this is so model. I'm activating it with my keyboard. You can see the focus is trapped within that model window. And when I'm clicking on close, the focus returns to the show model button, right? So let's see from the code how we have achieved that. All right, so there was a button, show model. And from here, you can see I am using import model from React model. So this is from the model out of box. So if you use this properly with some of the CSS and all, your model will be perfect. I have tested it, and this integration is working perfectly, as you have seen now. So this was the button. On click, we are calling this on model click. So we are maintaining one. And on model click, this state is set to show model true. And when this show model is true, then we are displaying this model. And the model will get open when this show model is true. And when model is open, then we have an attribute called on after open. And this is calling this method after open model. And after open model again is going to send your focus. So we have a model header where we are displaying one text. So we are sending focus to that. So this is how we are sending the focus onto the model overlay. So straight out of the box. And once you close it, click on close button, then we are calling this close model. And on close also, we are setting a state called show model equal to false. So this is how you can achieve a sample model using React. Of course, you'll get so many components for model which is customs, which they are not using out of the box model. But yes, definitely you can use that also. Custom way of using model is also required. Yes, definitely you'll have to write more code, more manipulations. But yes, that's possible. All right. And the third part is autofocus. This shows the use of autofocus and an input field, right? So this is also one of the way, not very famous, but yeah, this is also one of the way of sending a focus. One of the use case you can consider is like uh, you are filling one survey, and on click of next button, a next set of form elements appears. So in those use cases, you can use this. So when I'm clicking on show input, a next set of input field came up, and my focus went to that input field. So for that, we can use this autofocus. So by default, earlier the show result was off, so this didn't come up on page load. But the moment we clicked on show button, so we had this input click, and this one came up, and this autofocus is also inbuilt. So the moment we clicked on it, this input field came up, and the focus went into this first input field. So there is a catch here. But if you go back, shift tab, so I did a shift tab, and my focus again reached to the show input button. And if I do again activate that button, show input, you can see the focus is not moving to the text input text field. So this is a limit, one of the limitation of this way. that it will only work for one time. It will not work if you go back and forth. All right, so we have covered the focus management. So whenever a page loads in React, focus is lost or remains stagnant on the link that was clicked for a new page without any management. So we have to do a focus management so that we are not lost. And research has shown that the most effective way to manage focus within the page load is to put focus either to the body of the page or to the top level heading. Of course, skip link is also one of the first link to our pages, and skip link is also acceptable for focus. So you just need to have maybe a live announcement with it to make sense as to what just happened for a screen reader user. So you can see from the code perspective also on that focus thing, whenever my this component was loaded, I send the focus to the top header, right? You can see here. So you can do various things when during your component lifecycle, and these are the methods component did mount is a part of your component lifecycle. So the moment this focus component was loaded, I am sending the focus to my header component. So you can see here, I'm doing it tabbing, and whenever I'm activating the focus management, just a minute. Yeah, you can see my focus has went to the heading, and from there, if I'm doing a tab, it coming from the top. So that focus management I have maintained from this component lifecycle method, document.query selector, and I was sending the focus to this header side. All right, and the next is HTML semantics. All right, so this is also a very important topic from accessibility perspective, where developers uh, I can say are not using the semantics HTML, and they're not doing it like intentionally. They're doing it because maybe they don't know below the hood or behind the scene how screen readers interprets the semantic elements and non-semantic HTML elements. Okay, so for example, you can see here there's two tables here. This one, first one, and the second one. Both of them looks very similar, but one of them, the first one, is not accessible, and the second one is accessible, and both are built in React, right? So you can see I'll show you the code, but in this example below, a component is created with data being added to a table. However, the data has a wrapper div that can break the semantics of the overall table. Let's see the code. All right. So that is a table that looks like a table. The first one, name, occupation, Deque system, accessibility company. Okay. Now what we have, what the developer has written here, he has written a table, and he has correctly provided a row. And then under the row, we have a component called table header. Okay. So one component was created, and you can see this table header component has two headers, but these headers are wrapped by a div, right? And because of that, if I go ahead and inspect this table, so you can see here, we have a table over here, and there is a tr, and you can see there is a div, right? So an extra div and wrappers can break your semantics. So if you go ahead and uh, check this thing with your screen reader, it will not announce it as a table because of this div. this has broken the semantics of the table, right? So now suppose I am new to React and somebody said me that, hey, because of this div, your table is semantically broken and screen reader is not picking up the table table contents. So that developer can go and maybe he just delete this div and think that, okay, doing that will fix my issue. But no, uh, React will not allow you to do that, because it says JSS expressions must have one parent element, right? So the React framework is not allowing you to do that. It's not allowing you to delete that div. So then the developer might think that, hey, maybe we cannot create an accessible table with the help of React. So this is one of the myth which I'm talking about, that a table is just one example. It can happen with a list as well, where people think that we cannot create an accessible list also with the help of a React framework, but that's a myth. And you can see here how we can overcome that. So that was the first table. Let me see the second table. So this is the second table. You can see here we have a table, we have tr, we have th, so there is no div in between, so there is no div wrapper. So your screen reader will perfectly read out all those table semantics. Now let's see from the code what we did. So it's almost same. We have used the same thing, same structure. The only thing is the component which we created, we used fragment. So fragment is again out of the box from React. It's not something which is third party. It's inbuilt within the React, and I recommend everyone to use fragment to avoid any invalid HTMLs. Okay, so I have just used a fragment, and with that, this is simply coming at as th, and there is no wrapper of divs, extra divs here. And with that, your screen reader will read, and the stable semantics you are able to maintain, right? So this is one of the thing related to HTML semantics. And then let's see the keyboard navigation, right? Keyboard navigation is also one of the important things in React, where a lot of defects which we see, or a lot of components when we download from npm, we see that those components we are able to activate it with mouse, but with keyboard we are not able to activate that. Maybe they are not getting tab focus, or maybe the on key down events are not attached to those things. So let's see this example. In this example below, this is one of a custom tag example. A button is created using non-native semantics and native semantics. These two are the buttons. One, click me and click me. You can see there are two buttons. One is used with a custom tag and one is created with a native button element. So with custom tags, user like to add a row of button and tab index after the fact. However, it does not enter in. So let's see. I'm doing a tab in, and you can see my first click me button did not receive tab focus. Straight away my tab focus reads to second click me button. Why? Because this is a native button and this is a custom button. So if I see the code, yeah. So I just went, I saw this issue, I saw this defect, and I as a developer went and back to my code and was looking into this code. And I could see that my custom tag has a role equal to button, and I have provided tab index equal to 0, because this developer might have heard from somewhere that, yeah, by adding role equal to button and tab index to 0 to any of the elements, that provides tab focus. So that developer provided role equal to button and tab index equal to 0, but still that custom component is not getting the tab focus, right? So what is wrong here? So the wrong here is Your area attributes, roles, and tab indexes will not work on this custom tag. So what you need to do is you just need to remove this from here. You have to go inside this custom tag, and then you have to add here within that component. So the moment you add here, your custom component will receive focus. Let me do a tabbing again. You can see here. So now your custom component is receiving the focus, right? So this is one of the concept which we should always remember. And the next is click events. So there are again two buttons. One is a native keyboard button, a native button, and one is the custom way of creating a button. Okay, so I'm using first I'm trying to activate these two buttons with the help of mouse click. So I clicked the first button and the JavaScript model which I had written in my code came up. This worked. Now I'm going to do a mouse click on the second one. This also worked. I'm trying to activate with the keyboard. I reached the first keyboard button and I'm hitting enter, nothing happening. Then I try to reach to the second keyboard button and I hit enter. Wow, that works. It means the semantics one is working and the non-semantics way of creating button is not working. So what is wrong? Let's see the code. All right, so you can see that we have created a keyboard button with the help of a div, not with the button semantics HTML, and we had a role equal to button, tab index equal to 0. So that's why it was getting tab focus. It will announce the role as a button to the screen reader, but we had only used on click. So it was working with a mouse, but it was not working with your keyboard. So what you need to do is we need to do a on key down event as well. And with doing that, it will work. So you need to write a key down event, and you know that buttons should be activated either with the enter key or the space key. So those things, again, you can write JavaScript to have those code. Let me show this to you. All right. Now I'm doing a tabbing again from top. I raise the first keyboard button and I activated with my keyboard and it's working. All right. So the last one into my bucket today is Area Live. And Area Live is also something which is this is also one of the thing why the stigma was created around React or any other framework, that it's not accessible or it's difficult to have that, right? So yeah, one of the reason is as you know, like it's a single page application and your DOMs are not available onto the page. So that's why those Area Lives status messages will be difficult for the screen reader to pick up. But we have workarounds for that. We have workarounds with the help of some third-party packages as well as inbuilt React also. So I will show you three such methods, right? The first one is I'm using a React Area Live third-party package, which is quite famous into the community. I have seen many people are using that. And the second one is React LE Announcer. This is also a third-party package. This is also being used in many of the applications. And the third one is this lazy loading, which I have implemented with only React library, no third party. Okay, so let's see the code. So I'm clicking on press me and some announcer will announce to my screen reader. Similarly, for trigger new announcement, that announcement will get, if you want, I can show you with the screen reader as well.
Trigger new press me button. You are currently on a button. Inside web content. Here's a new announcement. Trigger new announcement. Button. Press me. Button. Here's a new announcement. You are currently trigger new announcement. Button. Here's a new announcement.
So
You are current voiceover off.
so you can see all those status messages were announced. Okay. Let me show you the code. Okay. So for the first one, I used live announcer, and live announcer is a package from React Area Live. It's a third-party package. So I'm using live announcer, and then we have a live message. And the moment you click on button, you are setting a state, and that message get announced. Okay. So this is pretty simple. You just need to wrap uh, your button and your message with this live announcer, and this package will take care. And you have this Aria Live assertive. So as you know, like we have different way of having Aria Live, polite, assertive. So all those things are there. If you want to see what is there under the hood, how that is working, so that also you can see in the code itself. You can see there are different, these all are coming from that package, and all those hide so and picking up those Aria Live messages, those all are coming from this. So this is all under the hood of that package. And the second one which we use, that is also a third party, we use announcer, and in that we have a text. We have embedded this text as state announcement, right? So the moment you click on this button on click, this is calling handle click, and this handle click is setting a state of announcement. Here is the new announcement. Just now we heard when I switched on the screen reader few moments back. And with that, your status messages can be announced to your screen reader user. And the third one is a lazy loading, right? So this is I have implemented right from here. You can see I'm using suspense, that is inbuilt React. Okay, this is out of the box. And then you can use react.lazy. This is also out of the box. And this is a alert standard component which is created by me. And so this React will lazy load that component. So basically, when you lazy load any component, so your screen reader gets some time to read that component, because it takes a fraction of seconds to load that. And by the time your screen reader can pick that up, those things. So let's see the code. Let's see the front end. It says show input, right? And the moment I click on that, this message came up. This is a lazy loaded component. From where it came from here. Alert standard. Yeah. So this is alert standard component, and from there, this is span get displayed. This is a lazy loaded component. Yeah, and let's see the code again. So what we did actually, we clicked on show input, and that has an on click method. This was a semantic button. On clicked on input, we had made this state lazy load as true. And the moment that is true, we are calling this suspense. Suspense is again from out of the box React, and that is fallback. And we can you can use like something is loading or intermediate state, right? Like once you click and something is loading in between, you can display this. So if it's taking a little time, that then this message can come as an intermediate thing that it's loading, or if it's quite fast and a user cannot even see that, so straight away very fast it will load. And this lazy component is the new component which we had created here, alert standard. So this will go and display there. Okay. So these are the 4 or 5 things which I tried to cover from the code perspective, hands-on perspective. And I've already shared the this repo with you. That's a public repo. You can go and clone and play around with that. So with this, I'll move to the next agenda item. All right. So component library and packages. So in the market today, or if you go and check on the NPM, so we have so many libraries which different people have created, different organizations have created for different components. So it's easy to find a library for anything right now. But the only thing is which we need to take care as a developer is like we have to be very careful while we are using the libraries. We have to test from accessibility perspective also, that whether the component library which I'm going to use or any package which I'm going to use from the node, is it accessible or not? So that onus will be on you, the developers. We cannot go and say to that, hey, this is something inaccessible because this is coming from a library. No, we have chosen that library, so it's our responsibility that why we have chosen that library, or why can't we have a better, why can't we choose a better component library which is good, which is tested well from the accessibility perspective, right? So there could be many things on the packages which you can download from node, right? They will say that they are React components, and if you install it and start using it, you will find that the document structures are not proper. Those packages are not accessibility tested, and they can cause major issues in semantics of the page itself. Many of the times I've seen the heading structures and landmarks are not proper. So those components only think from the markup perspective, that how the look and feel is, how it looks like, but from the screen reader perspective, or from all the compliance accessibility perspective, they are not tested. So we need to be careful. So you can see a few of the examples of bad button and good button. One is using the button with a semantic way div. One is using the semantic way of buttons, right? And then there's very famous or most common uh, error which you'll see in most of the packages here is like they have displayed tables with the divs, and so they're not using the table markups. So semantics is not proper, and by look and feel you can see that yes, it is a table, but from a table semantics perspective, it's not a table, and your screen reader will definitely not pick up those information table, right? And some of the also libraries I have seen, like they have used over area here and there, uh, thinking that adding area attributes on any of the divs or any of the spans will do magic for them and it will be accessible, but it is not. We need to understand what is area, how it is used, and where it should be used. So it should not be uh, overused everywhere. So there is a famous saying is like, no area is better than bad area. So as a developer, we should also think from that perspective. Now I'll quickly move on to uh, what is accessibility within the framework. So React as a framework, how is the accessibility support within the framework? What are the different, how is the community growing, and what are the famous packages which this community is using, which are accessible, right? So React as a framework has a lot of community support. Yes, it has the community support is the best I can say, and internal support to help you with accessibility on your application. So there exist multiple different accessible frameworks with components that have accessibility baked into them. I will list out few of those accessible components in the coming slides. And yeah, there are also automated testing solutions. There are so many uh, packages which are built on React, and you can very well use those as your automated testing into your CI/CD pipeline. Some of these are well known, but if used, can help make the application you develop one of the best out there. So one of the example I can say like Xcore React, which is from Deque, and that has got 70,000 weekly downloads. So it's basically a wrapper for accessibility testing within your React project. So you can very well use that also. And that's built on our Xcore, which is our primary engine for all accessibility. And there's also JustX, that is also a famous one, which you can use for your automation testing if you're using React. And then we'll talk about shortly about accessibility React linter, right? So what are the linters available into the market if I am developing my thing as using React as a framework? So one of the linter is X accessibility linter, which is again from Deque, and this is something it's a free VS Code extension, Visual Studio free extension that identifies accessibility issues while you code. Okay, so I can show that. Suppose this is the header and it has a logo, right? So this logo is nothing but this React logo here. You can see here. So suppose I am new to accessibility. I don't know what are the alt tags, what it does, and accidentally I remove this. Or while I was adding a new image, I did not add any alt tag. So you can see here, I just got a red tag here, and the linter says that, hey, something is wrong here. Ensure image ensure image elements have an alternate text or a role of none or presentation. So this is also one of the linter you can very well use in your VS Code extension, and that will help you fixing accessibility things while you code. Right, the moment I added alt back, that error went away. So there are also different types of linters available in the market. The previous one was from Deque. This one is also ESLint plugin. This is also a famous one. So whichever best suits you, you can go ahead and use those lintings. All right, so this would be my last slide. So as I said, like there are different accessibility libraries in the market which has got good reputation from the accessibility communities. One of these is Reach UI, which has got 150K weekly component downloads. And this, I have also personally used this Reach UI. And the good thing is they have almost covered all those widgets design patterns, which is mentioned in those ARIA authoring practices. So whether these are accordions, dialogues, tabs, and tooltips, everything is well built there and well tested from accessibility perspective. Then there is one more of semantic UI React. This is also getting 224K downloads per week. And this is something which they have used something like a wrapper uh, of adding semantics onto the custom elements. So although I have not used it, but I have heard good things about this package as well. Then there is something called React. Although this is newer to the React accessibility field, but it is filled with extremely accessible components. And yesterday I was looking to this Chakra UI, and this is also very good. I just tested few of the components. It's really nice. So you can also check it out. You can explore that as well. And there are a few of the things like date picker, combo boxes, tabs, accordions. There are also, these are the uh, packages which I have seen they are widely used in the accessible community, and you can also check this out. And then there are some other readings, some blogs and all about React and accessibility, which might be useful for you. Right. So in summary, React is one of the most accessible frameworks out there. React does have a lot of accessibility built into it. It has a lot of community support and a lot of accessibility testing tools that you can use to check for accessibility issues. So at the end of the day, if you can use semantic HTML, yes, this is a very important thing. If you can use semantic HTML wherever possible, try to use that. test your content for accessibility issues, and be aware of the content you create and the impact it could have on the folks with disabilities. Your application will be accessible to all. So with this, I'm handing over to you for any questions, Ayush.
Sure, Jay. Thank you so much for the presentation. I see there are three questions which are open. I believe you are also able to see it, Jay, right? Nadia has written a question regarding the syntax where she mentioned we can also use tags as a wrapper for the elements instead of fragment tag. It won't add any additional element to markup but fix the wrapping in the
Yes, Nadia, that is, you're right. That is also one of the way of using fragments. Yes, you're right. That your syntax is right. Yes.
perfect. Then we have one more question from the another participant where they have requested if there are any tools or processes that you would recommend to improve accessibility in a code base. They have been using PA11Y-CI and we run hunting sessions to manually find more complex accessibility issues. It take a bit long for them. Do you want to suggest anything here?
So the question is in the chat box.
Yeah, it's in the Q&A. If you can see the Q&A.
Okay. Are there any tools or processes that you recommend? Yes. So as I said, like tools, one is, as I told, the linting is, you can very well use Xlinter. It's very good linting tool, free tool, which is available as extension in your VS Code. And that is based on our Xcore engine. So that also you can use. And yeah, P11, PLE is also a good one. So may know, are you facing any issue with that using PLECI? And if you're really looking for some more tools, then there are, I do recommend XCLI also, right? If you're using it from command prompt and you want to run that, and then XCLI is also one of the good tool where you can go ahead and run that.
Thanks. Yeah, I had submitted the question a bit early in the presentation, so you did cover it actually in the slides, but thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right. I think we have one more question from Ashok that says the lint solution that is available, is it also for React Native?
I'm not sure on React Native, so I have not explored React Native, but definitely I can take a note of your questions, and we can email with our answer, right?
Sure, sure.
Yeah,
We can definitely do that.
yeah,
We will note down the information for Ashok.
yes, yeah. Please note down the email ID of Ashok. We can answer him.
Yeah. And I think someone has also raised a hand. I think it's Weber. Weber, I'm allowing you to talk. Maybe you can ask a question.
Hey, hi Raj, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Raj, thank you for the session and the insights, the information. Raj, actually, I just want to understand and ask one thing from you because you as a developer and I as a tester. So, because you know that when we test the application, whether it's in React, whether it's in Angular, then
Yeah.
we come up with some issues, right, on the page basis or on the application basis, and though I have a good experience in accessibility, so I have to recommend the solutions also at the same time, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes it happens that the most of the developers sometimes they don't know even about accessibility, or even if they know very little bit about accessibility,
True.
depending upon the technologies, right? Whether it's in React or Angular or in plain vanilla JavaScript. So as a tester, when we are testing and coming up with the recommendation, sometimes it's easy to provide the recommendation if the issue is not very complicated. But sometimes it's difficult because we don't know much React, we don't know much Angular. We know the basic idea about it, that it's okay, the application. So in that case, as a developer, what will you suggest, that what should be our recommendation or for the remediation? Because like you said that if you want to correct the table or remediate the table, then you have to use this tag fragment. Okay, but I don't know. I heard this thing first time in this session only. So what should be the approach of the person who remediating, even like it's not, if they are not much familiar with the languages. So
All right.
what? Yeah,
I
that's
got your question. I got your question. Thank you for that. Okay, so you as a tester, when you are testing any application, so it doesn't depends. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's
exactly.
built on React or or Angular or whatever, right? So suppose you are testing, for you everything was rendered as an HTML to you, right?
Mhm.
So when you want to have a recommendation to that, so some of the things you can very well go and inspect, like you might be doing as well. Okay, so let me take the same example which I had covered before, right? So you know that you are testing with a screen reader and you found that this table was not announcing you the table details, right? And this is built in React. So now you went and inspected that, and you just went to see the semantics, I mean the HTML of that particular table, and you could very well see that, hey, this tr is broken by this div. So you as a tester, you can very well suggest that uh, you should remove this div. Okay, and this div is extra. If you remove this div, your table semantics will be back. Okay, so if your job is to just recommend this, that this is something which is breaking your semantics, now it will be on the developer to find it out that how he can remove the div, whether he should use a fragment in React or what is the other workaround. Okay, so I don't think you as a tester have to uh, go a lot of deep into that and recommend him to that, because there can be n number of ways of doing that. But for you, ultimately, it's rendered as an HTML element, and it doesn't matter whether it was built in React or Angular or Vue, whatever. Ultimately, it's a div which was creating this issue, and your recommendation should be that why don't you go and remove this div here, this div wrapper here. Does this sense good?
Uh, yes, Raj. Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, Raj. It's sense, but sometimes it happen, Raj, that let's say, yeah, this example is very understandable, but sometimes it happen, like whether it's related to models or related to the live section, the live announcement, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, let's say something, if I'm tabbing out of one of the fields, and it is a mandatory field, and as soon as I'm tabbing out of that field, some error message is appearing. Okay, it's get visible, but the screen reader is not informing. So as a tester or as a remediator, it's my like my recommendation is like that there should be some kind of empty container in which we inject this and provide the role equal to alert or aria live equal to assertive, depending upon the requirement. So this is something like very general and basic kind of remediation from my side through
Yeah.
all such kind of alert or the live areas, right?
Yeah.
But when it's come to the scripting side, that is the Angular, then the developer said that, okay, I got your point, but it is not kind of a applicable completely exactly, or in one sense or in another sense. So what should we do at that time? Whether we should do a research for that and come up with the proper code, or it's a
Yes.
proper.
So ideally, developers would research on that. Okay.
Okay.
And what additionally you can do is, if you really want to have something handy to just share with the developers, why don't we go and create a library for
Mhm.
the famous used components, like suppose this Deque. Okay, so I have
Okay.
mentioned few of the libraries, right? So if something wrong with the audience, okay, so you can internally maintain a list of libraries which are already tested and which has got a good reputation into the accessibility community. So if your developer is lazy, he don't want to go and do this research himself, you can very well go and provide that, hey, I have found these are libraries which are really tested from the accessibility perspective. Why don't you go and take a look?
Okay. Got it. Raj.
All right.
Thank
Thank you,
thank
Weber.
thank you so much.
Okay. We have a next question from Ashish. Ashish says, I moved the focus to the form element, but at the
Mm.
same time, ARIA live message just activated. How will screen reader manage to announce both? Is multiple ARIA dash live can be read by screen reader?
In those scenarios, we have a real live called polite. You can use that real live polite. So what polite does is it will wait for your screen reader. Suppose you are into a form element, so whatever the label for that form, it will first read, and then in the back, it will wait for that announcement to complete, and then again it will announce whatever the text you have used for the real live polite. But if you're using a real live assertive, then it will suppress or it will override uh, the announcements, and it will immediately announce whatever the text you have provided into the real live assertive. So this is also one of the use case where you should use a real live polite and a real live assertive.
Thank you. Thank you, Jay. I think we have a next question from Nadia. She says, what would you use for integration tests in terms of accessibility? Are there good tools for it?
Yes, I just gave one example, right, for integration test. Yeah, there are different. It depends on what is the automation framework, integration framework you are using. There are some uh, integrations packages available, testing automation package available for everything, whether it's a Puppeteer or whether it's a WebDriver IO, or so whatever the as I said, like React community has improved a lot and it has very good support. So there are many accessible libraries which are there where you can use as integration. And one of the example I gave here also, right, Xcore React, which can act as your uh, automation unit testing library.
Yep. Um, I think we have a next question from Subba. He says, can we meet all the level A and AA accessibility standards in React apps? If not, any limitation? I think we can, right?
Yes, definitely.
Perfect. Yes, Salish, we are going to share the recording and the deck with all the attendees who participated today. All right. I think we are good, Jay. Looks like we have answered most of the questions. Feel free to reach out to the team in case if you have any other questions, we'll be more than happy to address it. And once again, I wanted to thank you, Jay, for organizing this, and to all the participants, who attended this. Wish you a great week ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.